Hello, I'd like to do a short video about gridded response questions because it's something that we don't talk about a lot during the year, but it's something you have to be able to do on the EOG at the end of the year. So this is what the state of North Carolina sends out about gridded questions, and I thought we'd just read through it, and then we will grid some of the examples at the bottom. So this says, some of the questions will require you to write a numerical answer rather than select an answer from several choices. These are open response questions. So here are the guidelines. Write only one digit or symbol in each box. Spaces are permitted before or after your answer, but not within the answer. So you can't have any empty boxes within your answer. Darken the corresponding circle below each box. The computer scores based on the darkened circles, and we've been filled in bubbles since kindergarten. For a negative number, write a negative sign in the top of the leftmost column. Darken the top circle below. Do not use symbols such as commas or dollar signs, and there'll be some examples below that we will put the answer in the grid. Use only symbols that are provided in the circle. So if you don't see it in the circle as a choice for your answer, you can't use it in your answer. If an answer is a mixed number, it must be changed and entered as an improper fraction or a decimal. We've talked about that a lot this year. Example C has a mixed number, 4 1/2, which is 9/2, as an improper fraction, or 4.5 as a decimal. So here are some examples that the state of North Carolina thought might come up, these kinds of things you might have to grid. Oops, what's going on? So let me just activate this pen. All right, so this says negative 18 2/10. So the first thing we have to do is write the negative 18 decimal 2/10. And then we just have to do the bubbling, which is not going to be easy for me to do with this computer like this, but 18, oops, decimal, and a 2. I would think everybody's pretty good at the bubbling. This is the important part. Once you get this set in there, the rest of it's easy. And if you'll see down under it, it says negative 18.2 can be answered as negative 18.2. I mean, just the way it is. All right, the next one, letter B, says 5/10. So you have some choices with this. You can do 5/10, just like it says, or 1/2, because 5/10 is 1/2 reduced, or 0.5, because that's also a half, or you can leave the 0 off. Any of those are okay. So let's just practice using the divided by signs. Let's do 1/2. So you do 1, and then this top thing that's divided by, all fractions are division problems, 1/2. And then you would just bubble in what you need to bubble in. And the 2. All right, let's look at C. This one we've talked about a lot in class. What do you do when you have a mixed number? One of the things that we've talked about is that you can't have spaces. So let me just go over here real quick. And if I write 41, and then that without a space, if it'll let me, but it's terrible. See, let's try it again. 41 divided by 2. Since I can't use a space, that's what the computer's going to read. Get it in this shot here. 41 divided by 2, which is actually 20.5. It's not 4.5. So that's the math behind why the computer can't read a mixed number. So we have to use what we know about mixed numbers and turn it into an improper fraction, or if the decimal's easy to access, then you can use a decimal. So for this one, you could do 4.5, because most of us know that 0.5 is a half. But let's go ahead and practice turning it into a mixed number. So 4 times 2 is 9 plus 1. 4 times 2 is 8 plus 1 is 9. Too much technology in trying to write with this. 9. Then that's going to be divided by 2. And then you're going to have to, fill in your little dots down here. And you're divided by, and you're 2. All right? Now, on the next one, it says 5,600. And you've been learning since elementary school that, I think I heard one elementary school teacher talk about kicking it, putting in the comma every 3 numbers. But you'll notice if you look at the grid, there are no commas. There is no comma for you to bubble, so you cannot put a comma in the grid. So you just have to put the straight number. And a lot of you have gotten out of the habit of using the commas anyway, so I don't know that this one would be all that difficult for a lot of you. It's hard to write it. Well, this will be funny if nothing else. All right, 5,600. And finally, E, we've got $25.99. And again, you'll notice there are no dollar signs in the grid. So you've got to ignore that. Don't put the dollar sign. You can't anyway. You can only write in the box, but you can grid below it. Now you can grid a decimal. So you do need to make sure you put the decimal in there. So it's going to be 25.99. $25.99. So that's how you use the grid. Last year's EOG had, I don't know, it seems like it had about 10, 12 gridded questions on it. And we will practice gridding in class when we do the review at the end of the year. But that is gridding. Thanks a lot.